Hi Facebook, I'm Ellie Frost. Happy Tuesday. So, I want to talk to you today about one question that I've had in my life, especially as we evolve and grow, but also a lot of my clients, is about like, what about when I'm multi-passionate and I'm multi-talented? You know, like how do I bring this all together when it feels fragmented? A lot of them, and myself included, have done, you know, that maybe they've got like skill sets that they've developed in different areas, right? And this is what I feel about this, right? We want to design a business model that works around us and brings in our depth, right? The things that we're multi talented and multi passionate about are what give us the edge, but it can feel like, how does this make sense? We think we should just be one thing in a box, and my people are visionaries. And if you can, like, this is actually what gives us such an advantage in the marketplace, right? What gives me an advantage is that I've had 20 years of really like high level business experience advising massive businesses and brands, like personal brands and household name brands, as well as 20 years of like healing modalities, being a psychic abilities, right, which I integrate into my business gifts. But I'm not one of those things, right? But if you work with me, you get this full package, because I don't just dance and surface level and skirt around like any one of those gifts. I've got a very, very high level in each of them. So what I would say is, play to your strengths, which are the talents, the multi-talents that you're completely passionate about, right? And don't try and make sense in other people's boxes of them. You know, like, don't try and make them fit into what you see outside and think it has to be one thing, because the depth of your offering depends on this. What I also know is that throughout all of it, it does fit together. This is why you should join me in Elevate You, right? Because there's a core essence underlying the whole thing that makes sense of everything. So for example, on my journey, right, where I knew I wanted to work with socially conscious entrepreneurs who were here to change the world. So in my 20s, I became a director of a brand that went on and did that, you know, literally globally and on a very high level. And then I set up to help other entrepreneurs. At the same time, I was studying healing modalities. I've healed my body of chronic kidney disease. I've healed my body of PTSD. You know, why is that relevant for the entrepreneur journey? Well, it all links in, right? Because clearing trauma, like, I'm an excellent energy worker now. You know, like, I can clear trauma and resistance. And that's such a huge part of why people, entrepreneurs, founders don't get the results they want, right? If you've got a good strategy or good enough, right, it's always the resistance we have to clear. So although these things look like different modalities, what they actually do is come together beautifully for my people, that I'm a one-stop shop. I'm hacking through the market. I'm closing the gaps, right? Not saying that you might not want to work with other people for different things, but what I can bring, right, is very unique because of it. And it saves people a lot of time and a lot of money, because now they haven't got to have like a spiritual guide and an energetic person and a business person. I've got a level of excellence in all of those areas. And like, whatever you're multi-passionate about makes sense at a core level. At a core level, I was here to work with people who wanted to monetize their passions, doing things that elevated consciousness on the planet, that changed the world in positive ways. That's what I've been doing for my whole life. There's no coincidence that I got to work with some of the most game-changing like celebrities on the planet. There's no coincidence that I set up online integrating these gifts, showing the healers, the leaders, the innovators, the artists, how they can do that too, right? Without this toolbox, right, what our multi-passionate, multi-talented gifts give us is substance. Because the thing that's lacking online a lot of the time is substance. There's not necessarily people who have had a ton of different business experience. There's not necessarily people that really truly understand beyond the surface level what's going on. So if you're multi-passionate and dynamic, and you've got this like beautiful amount of like, not generalists, but you know, like different experiences that you can bring in, I believe these are the people that we need the most, right, at the moment. The people with substance, with depth, with serious experience, and trying to make sense of it in the old models doesn't make sense for the new world, right? We're meant to, and as we evolve and grow, by the way, these gifts get even more expanded, so we get even more valuable because we're using what's unique about us and we're feeding our passion. Now, we want to keep the business model working around us, right? Because for me, for example, if I just do spiritual guidance and like psychic readings in business or in people's lives, I would be totally bored, because there's a huge part of me that's had this 20 years like advising these big brands, you know, that have got people from like, you know, nothing to global impact to authors to living their dreams but impacting people in amazing ways. I want to use all of me. I want to bring all of this to the table, right? I don't want to leave a piece of me behind in order to do my role. You know, a lot of us, when we decide to become entrepreneurs, it's because we can't fully be expressed in our jobs, right? So our whole thing, and my whole thing, is bringing you into what I call your highest expression of self and soul, which means the soul purpose is ignited, the spiritual context is known and integrated with your human, like that's come to do certain things in the world, right? Bringing the fullness into everything you do. And we need a business that energizes us because it's bringing that fullness. We don't want a business that felt like the job that we moved away from. If you've transitioned from a job, for example, into your own business, the beauty of having our own business is bringing the fullness of us to the table, that I haven't got to play a role, that I can bring everything about me. But if you can't see the gift in it yet, you should work with me, because I will show you how to bring these fragmented pieces together and why it will give you the edge. It will give you the edge in the market. There will be no one like you because of it. But so many of us don't understand this. And so we can't logically put these things together, and so we're jumping from thing to thing. Maybe I'm studying this and I'm studying that and I'm trying to figure out where I fit, right? Rather than understanding what I call our core essence, which is basically your soul blueprint, which I can read in people instantly pretty much. Understanding our core essence, it will always be about the same thing for you, right? At some level. And everything else is a vehicle for you to be fully expressed. But if you just focus on your creative side and not your other side, if you also like, I don't know, solving problems in a certain way, you'll never be fully fulfilled, right? So what we want to do is create these businesses that serve all of our strengths, and there's room for all of them. And that's why we will be the leaders on the planet with the edge, right? Because we're doing that. Because no one else can do that. It's not a common gift. I was just walking and had the same thought. Yeah, these are the people that I've worked with. They're multi-dynamic, they're multi-passionate, and some of them are the biggest personality-led brands in the planet that I've had the pleasure of working with, right? Because they needed to have that. That was the genius inside of them, right? That made them so good. So it's not for everyone. Like, there may just be one thing that you're focused on, but for people who are really entrepreneurial and dynamic, they tend to have this faceted ability, and what we want to do is create a business that plays to it, right? Not that cuts off pieces of us, and not that we get bored from. Now, what happens to a lot of the people I work with is suddenly they've created something, and often it's very successful, but then they hate it because it's not truly aligned. And the Elevate You process is all about your core essence at heart. So suddenly you will have this moment where it all makes sense. You will see why at core, right? It all makes sense. Every movie that you like, everything that you're drawn to, every business venture that you've tried or been involved in, all the skills you have and are passionate about that you don't think make sense of. When I connect you to your soul blueprint at the highest level, you're like, aha. It's always been about that. That's what it's really about. Not this vehicle, not this program, not this particular business. Maybe it's a bricks and mortar, not this one vehicle of my self-expression. And then the question and what I do with people becomes about knowing my core essence, right? Knowing what these gifts are. How do I bring the fullest expression of me into everything that I do? So I'm not leaving parts of my talent behind. So I'm stimulated. So I talk about flow states a lot. Flow state is when you're engaged, right? And you get engaged when it's a little bit of a challenge and it requires you to bring everything to the table. So like, we want that. I've got strategic skills, psychic skills, healing, amazing energy clearing, and like, if you book in a trauma release session with me, literally that will remove whatever is in the way of your abundance and stuff like that. But the point here is this: We get to bring it all to the table. We are the reason it exists, right? We haven't got to make sense. So when you're trying to make sense of it logically, you're looking around at the past, at the old, right? You're not understanding the visionary you are. Coaching and real estate is one business. Yeah, I go back to the expression, right? So so let me take you through this, Julia, because I love this, right? Feel into so you've got like the coaching and the real estate, right? What am I expressing through coaching that is so me, that I do instinctively, that I love? And what do I get to express through real estate? Because you want to bring it back beyond the vehicles to what it's truly about. That's your core essence. And if you feed that, more things can grow. Hang on, I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've been a director of 16 businesses outside my own companies, right, over the years, right? So like, I'm meant to be multi-passionate. I get turned on by that. But what I don't need to do is what I decided to create was a business I could evolve with. That's why out here I had the personal branding agency, which was for celebrities, people who already have a high level of impact. And I take them and I make them even bigger world leaders, right? Socially conscious entrepreneurs here to elevate consciousness, change the game, make money from being themselves, but more than money, like literally elevate consciousness is the best way I can say it on the planet in a new way that is like taking us all forward as humanity. But they are the household name brands, and I've worked with a lot of companies as well on that, and the entrepreneurs, right? So like, what I've done is I've merged those two businesses because what I've realized is it's me, and I wanted to integrate them. I didn't want the agency and the online. Now I want the people are kind of the same people, right? But what I really want is to bring all of me to everything that I do, that I can bring all these gifts together, and that's why I'm so good at what I do. What I don't want to do is just advise you on strategy, although I've been consulting some of like the Condé Nast, the biggest publisher in the world, like Jamie Oliver. I was a director of for 9 years, one of the biggest, like, my people are like the people on Oprah, the people, I've had all that. So I've got this amazing experience that I want to bring with people, but I don't want to just do the strategy, because guess what? When you're not making the money and when it's not working for you, it's an energetic block. And I can also really see into your soul, really see it. The reason I've been so good with these personality-led brands is because I can tune into who they are. I know it psychically. I'm intuitive. It resonates with them. Like, it's not like when I talk to people, I had one message today actually from someone, because I just did that post yesterday about what's your blog? Let me channel it. I don't think when I channel, I just read it. And that's why it's so clear. Like, I make it so clear for people. I'm here to demystify the market, cut through the gaps, and give you all the hacks, right? And you can't just do it one way. It's got to be integrated. So if you are multi-passionate, multi-talented, trying to make sense, really go into what is it about these things I'm doing that excites me, that I'm passionate about, that I get in flow over, right? Because that's we look for these different avenues, right, to be fully expressed. Now, sometimes it is right for us to have multiple businesses. I've done it. I've had two. But the thing is, sometimes we don't want to have it all fragmented and we want to bring it all into one. It doesn't matter. I'm pretty sure in my lifetime I will have multiple businesses again because it was fun for me. But what I don't want to do in my core work is have to separate out a piece or fit into a box, because when I do that, I'm denying my genius. What's genius about me is the activation you get because I can bring something together that no one else can, because I've had such experience strategically in businesses and brands and, all that kind of stuff. And I've got a very high ability to work with energy and to get you into a spiritual context that people don't have, right? So why would I want to dumb that down or be in one thing? It's what makes us have the edge. But so many of us don't understand that, and we don't understand what it's about, of course. So if you're stuck with that, you need to contact me. Elevate You is the program for that. As well as like then getting you into alignment with what you want to express. And it should be fun for us. It's like, it's expressing ourselves. If you're multi-passionate and multifaceted and you move fast, you want to move fast. There's nothing wrong with that. When I built the brand with Jamie, we had so many, like we went from 0 to 500 million, right, in 9 years. So, I mean, it was like that. And it was extraordinary. But at the same time, we were so multi-talented and multi-passionate, and we played to it. And guess what? The brand exploded, right? If you know how to navigate, your own energy. So there's so much online as well about masculine energy, feminine energy, human design, personality types, they're all useful. But what they're here to teach you is how to manage your energy. You nail that and you win. There are so many artists and celebrities that I have worked with that, you know, they would have been labeled as certain things in, you know, in the world. But what they really were a different energy type. Some of them could hyper create, you know what I mean? That's not a mental illness. If you can't regulate your own nervous system, then we do need to work on that. But here's the thing. The reason your energy works a certain way is so that you'll win. The reason you're multi-passionate and talented is because it's your genius on the planet. The reason you don't understand it is because your mind is trying to put you in an old box that isn't for the new world and isn't for what you came to do. We came to be our highest expression of self and soul. We came to integrate our soul blueprint and do the work we're meant to do that only we can do with our unique gifts, skills and abilities. My skills of like a psychic and my strategy and all the stuff, it was innate in me. When I was in my 20s, I got that directorship with Jamie, and I've got tons more experience now, right? But it was innate in me. There is innate stuff in all of us. There is stuff that you don't have to think about, that you can just layer on and build on and develop, right? Not make sense of in the old traditional ways. Use it as your A game. It's what makes you unique. It's what gives you the edge. It's what will set you free. So contact me about what I've got going on, but if that's fun or interesting, or you've got questions about it, let me know, because I'll reply to the comments. But really understand what most people are struggling with is actually where their edge is. It's actually what's going to make you the one that's going to really transform your area or what you're here to do. Don't put it into the old traditional box, because what this integration is what makes you the unique, extraordinary person. If you can learn how to navigate it and play it in your energy at the level that excites you and enables you to grow and expand your gifts at the same time and use them in a way that is really true to you. So you're bringing something very different to the game. Anyway, lots of love. Thank you for listening, and I'll speak to you soon.